Well, case backlogs and the police inability to complete its work is raising concerns in KwaZulu-Natal. Earlier on today, the police's portfolio committee conducted an oversight visit to some of these facilities to check on operations, as well as possible finding solutions to these problems. eNCA senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is following these developments. Let's cross to him now for the very latest. And good afternoon to you, Dasen. Can you tell us about some of the concerns that the SAPS have?
Well, let's start here, Tumelo. If you look at KwaZulu-Natal and if you just look at the level of crime that police are dealing with here, you'll see that it is already a massive problem. We've reported on many of these drive-by shootings, for example. There is an issue around the firearms that exist in the province, and just generally the rate of crime is a matter of concern for residents and those who visit the province. So to that end, the SAPS also has to rely heavily on its laboratories to deal with these types of cases, to process them. You know the importance of these forensic labs in dealing with all sorts of investigations, even the ballistics testing that would be done here in Amanzimtoti at one of the labs, the police labs. This has been an ongoing concern, largely because of the location of those labs. In the past, they've been flooded on more than one occasion, and that has now created certain backlogs and delays. There are other issues around electricity. For example, some of these premises don't have generators or backup systems in place. So what that effectively means is that the teams that are working with these samples or working to aid these investigations are now faced with unnecessary delays. So, within this context, it was the Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Police that visited the province. It was a very quick visit. They'll be moving to the Eastern Cape next. But they had an opportunity to visit that lab. They got a briefing from the Provincial Commissioner here to find out about what could be some of the possible solutions. How can they try to mitigate some of these issues? And obviously to do a site inspection of the physical premises. We were not allowed inside. We were told that our cameras had to stay outside. But when we got out, we did get a report from the chairperson, Mr. Albert Siabi. He told us a bit about what they saw and what they think needs to be done. Let's listen in.
And we visited the laboratories. We are not happy with the state of laboratories, the way they are, and they are leasing those laboratories. In fact, some of the sections in the laboratories are not working. The work is done by Western Cape and Gauteng. So it means we've relocated employees from here to Gauteng. Now it's because of the infrastructure which is not habitable. So why we are here at this place is because they are showing us a place where they are going to relocate the laboratories. And these ones are government buildings which will be more cost effective. There we're paying rent even if the laboratories are not working, which is not financially sustainable. So we said they must do whatever they can to make sure that within 12 to 24 months they are able to relocate those laboratories to here so that they can be fully functional. If laboratories are not functional, there's a backlog with the issues of DNA. It has an impact on the issue of GBV and femicide, issue of ballistic testing. It has an impact on when you have a crime scene, you are able to... Maybe the AKA issue also is affected by that. But what I know is that the investigations are on and they're just about to effect an arrest.
Now, Dasen, I understand you also spoke to Portfolio Committee of Police Chairperson. What did he have to say?
Well, I actually spoke to to not just the chairperson but also the provincial commissioner in the province, General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, on these issues. So we did speak about the matter of the forensic labs. They say that they are trying to find some interim solutions. One of them is, for example, relocating those labs to buildings that are owned by the police. But also while that is happening, they're also looking at developing a longer term solution and creating a space or creating a building where they can house these teams. So the idea is to let them work without the stresses of the environment, such as issues of flooding and electricity issues, and just have them focus on the task at hand. But you know, Tumelo, no conversation with the provincial commissioner or the police in general can be complete these days without us touching on the matter of AKA. You would have heard the committee chairperson there also responding to a question that I had around this matter earlier. And we were basically asking these questions after the reports of those possible arrests that took place in Cape Town at the weekend. The SAPS did put out a statement today, essentially saying that they don't want any speculation to jeopardize the work that they are doing. So although we've been trying to confirm what transpired in Cape Town, both the Western Cape Police as well as the police in KZN, the NPA, all of them are not saying anything about those men that were arrested. So when I had an opportunity to speak to the provincial commissioner today, I did ask him. But I'll tell you, just before we get to that interview, or part of that interview that we did, just in talking to police here, it would seem that the arrests that were made at the weekend were part of this investigation, this broader investigation that's taking place. But as of yet, there is no conclusive evidence that they are in fact linked to the murder of AKA and Tibbs here on Florida Road. Let's listen to part of that conversation that I had with the provincial commissioner earlier.
This is a second high-profile visit that we've had. The previous visit was the minister who came here with a delegation from head office, accompanied by the national commissioner, in order to try and give us solutions with regard to the lab in the province. And as the receiver of the product that comes from the lab in SAPS KZN, we appreciate that, and we hope that with this visit there's going to be work done, because the lab that we currently have, or the facilities that have been used at Mazimtoti, are nowhere closer to help us push the workload that we need to push. It's leased buildings which have got many other challenges, despite the fact that they get flooded every now and then. But we also have challenges with regard to the space. We have challenges with regard to the power. Each time there's load shedding, and some of them don't necessarily have backup generators, and that contributes into the poor performance from the forensic lab. But we hope that with these visits, the pressure and the focus is going to be more in trying to help us coming up with a proper plan.